Now we're going to talk about your brand essence. You know who you serve, you know how you serve them, you have a very clear offer, and now we're going to start talking about how you're going to be communicating it and the communication style that evokes your authentic frequency. So we're going to dive into your brand essence, and there are three different worksheets that we're going to work through as we do this. So first, you want to evoke a feeling. How do you want people to feel when you are in the room? Think about when you are in the room with somebody, whether you are at home, in a doctor's office, maybe you're in your client service, you're in person with them. How do you want people to feel? What do you want people to say when you are not in the room? This is the best way to first start to tap into your brand essence. So when I'm in the room, I want people to feel safe. I want them to be seen and at home, but I also want them to feel inspired, empowered. I want them to know what is possible in their life. And most importantly, I want my presence to bring a moment of breakthrough. I know that's how I want to make someone feel anytime they interact with me. And to me, when I think about when they're in the room, this is when you are on social media content with me, when you are in a one-to-one session on Zoom, when you're in a group coaching call, if I see you at the grocery store, if you happen to be in my home. I want you to feel all of these things in my presence. That is what I look at as the room in my personal expression. So I want you to think about what is your room and how do you want people to feel when they come across to you? And when I'm not in the room, so this is somebody who has seen my social media video and later they're talking to a friend. This is someone who's met me at a networking event or maybe one of my own events, and now they're talking to somebody about it. This is somebody who has had some type of an interaction with me. I want people to be so impacted by what I share that they're constantly sharing it with someone else. So I want them to have learned something from me and I want to have changed their lives. And I want them to take that and then share it with the world. If I gave you a piece of information that totally reframed your mindset, I want you to go and talk about that. I know the transformation that I deliver makes people talk. And I know that if I show up in my most authentic, empowered essence as my true self, that is the interactions that I have. So what is that for you? What does that look like? And it could be bold and audacious, or maybe you bring a really grounded, calm, centered experience. So really think about what is natural for you, because this is how you're going to be showing up all the time in your real life. This is how you're going to be showing up in your social media content, like in everything that you're doing. So really tap into that feeling that you want people to have. Let's look at your communication style. So what is your general style and tone? This should align with your audience, the avatar that you are talking to, because those personality attributes, they will likely understand. So you want to think about my general style and my tone. Well, am I casual? Am I really fancy and dressed up? Am I more athletic? What is your essence? Because your essence is how people are going to appeal to you. And it will align to those that you're ready to serve. So if you're servicing executives, they may be looking for somebody who's getting on the phone and wearing a baseball cap and in a sweatshirt because they're looking for somebody who has something totally different. Or maybe they want to be mirrored. Maybe they want somebody who looks exactly like them. So you want to kind of tap into who am I serving? And who am I naturally, and how do I combine those things into my style and tone? What's already out there? What's already out there in the industry? Is there a way I can stand out, right? So for me, this is when I get out the whiteboard because I don't think anybody talks about visibility or breaking through and healing the way I do. I explain it in a way where I can take big pieces of information and make it really logical. This is how I stand out in my industry. Make a list of attributes that describe you. So for example, we're going to look at like Wendy's brand. Wendy's is actually really funny on so I haven't looked at their stuff in a really long time, but Wendy's is known for being really funny on social media and like being really sarcastic and like making fun and just it's like a jokester account almost. They get a lot of attention that way. There's a lot of people who follow Wendy's that probably don't eat at Wendy's or even go there very often, but they're just a fun follow because they're so humorous. So from a branding perspective, they're always front and center in people's minds. And then there's Apple, which is super understated yet authoritative. Like their box is super basic, small white box with just like an apple on it. Their products are super basic, but they are understated, authoritative, and powerful. So you want to think about like, what are those attributes that describe you? Are you playful, funny, direct? Are you informative? And then what we want to look at are your brand pillars. So this is what creates the heart and soul of your brand, right? So this is going to help you stand out from the competition, and your pillars will likely come from some of the messaging that you've already done. But I'm going to give you an example for me. So I know authentic visibility is soul level liberation. I know you're going to reclaim your identity. I know there's energetic and spiritual alignment that will change your life. And I know that I'm bringing strategic soul expansion because I'm combining energetics and I'm combining the finances and I'm combining the strategy and I'm combining all the pieces. So that's my example of my four pillars. So I look at this internally. I'm going to liberate you. You're going to be seen. You're going to remember who you are. You're going to align to your original soul's blueprint, and you are going to expand strategically and financially. So you're going to expand in every area of your life by aligning to your soul, by remembering who you are, and getting audaciously visible. So that's how I think about my brand pillars, and pretty much everything I do falls under those pillars, no matter how you're working with me. So if you're working with me in a healing aspect, that's under liberate. If you're working with me in an energetic aspect, that's often in the healing, but it's also in the align. Like we're clearing the stuff that's keeping you from your soul essence. If you're working with me in a more strategic capacity with your business, this is that expansion. So everything kind of falls under here, my content, my offers. So you want to think about the heart and soul of your brand and what are four pillars for your brand. Again, we don't make places from decisions from a place of permanence. So don't get too caught up in all of this of having the right thing, but just really tap into what is it that you do and what are those pillars that you're going to want to live by. And this will guide you. This is always my North Star is what I'm doing liberating, is what I'm doing helping someone remember who they are, is what I'm doing aligning them to their soul blueprint, and am I expanding people? Okay, and then we're going to get into content types. So there's a lot of different types of content. So you're going to tap in, and I'm going to go through the worksheets in a minute, but you're going to tap into your brand essence, the communication, the feeling, everything that you're evoking. We're going to get super clear on the brand pillars that are going to lead your content and your offers. And you've done a lot of this work already in the messaging, right? And now we're going to think about it from a content perspective. Now, my social media course solely focuses on creating content. Like that's all it is creating content for social. So that's going to get broken down way more in that course, but it is an important part of your soul's expression and your personal brand. So let's look at the different types of content. First and foremost, there's educational. So for example, what happens in the quantum field when you're afraid of being seen? Then there's how to overcome the fear of being seen in 5 steps. Then there's interactive. This would be like going live on social media on one of the platforms and creating some type of an interactive experience. Then there's like news and trends. So you might see like debunking spiritual beliefs. So if there's all of a sudden like a really trendy spiritual belief out there, like some trendy thing happening in manifestation, that's a type of piece of content is news and trends. Then there's entertainment. So I might do a comedy skit on soul contracts. This is all stuff I've actually done. So that's why I'm sharing it from this perspective. Then there's the behind the scenes. So I made a post about here's a day in the life of a psychic intuitive. And then there's aspirational, how my rock bottom became my launch pad. So these are your different types, and I put some other types of content down here. So there's like authenticity is a buzzword. That would be a news and trends type of piece of content. How a personal brand took my student from 3K to 25K per month. This is aspirational. This is going to tap into somebody who's looking for more of an inspired piece of content. How creating your personal brand will absolutely transform how you show up in life. This is aspirational and educational. There's transformation and there's a how-to, right? Beginner's Guide to Personal Branding, educational and how-to. When I left my executive role, I was able to replace my income. That's aspirational. A day in the life of a publicist, that would be behind the scenes. Spilling the tea on Love is Blind, which is a reality TV show. This is entertainment as well as news and trends. So this is how you want to start to think about your content, okay? Now that we have an overview of what we're going to be working on, let's get into the nitty-gritty of it. So this is your brand essence and your communication style. So you want to go through here and think about how do people feel in your presence. And you might already know this. You may want to also ask people. I get a lot of feedback about how I make people feel, and so I incorporate that. When I didn't know, I just assumed based on how I wanted to make people feel and the responses that I would get in my personal life, right? So you can kind of use whatever you have here, but put it all together with when they meet you for the first time, if they're during a conversation with you, maybe they know you a little bit better, maybe they're having a session, when they leave your space, like how do you want people to feel when they are in your presence? How do you want them to feel when you're not in the room, right? So if somebody leaves, you want them to leave knowing like, oh, I fully trust that interaction. I'm excited to work with that person. I can't wait. I'm so grateful. Thank you, God, for guiding me. Like that's the feeling that I want people to have, right? Maybe when they see your post and your offers, are they drawn in? Are they curious? Are they like totally inspired by what you're doing and creating? Again, these are all for you to decide how you want people to feel at every type of interaction with you. That is again natural for you. Because remember, you can't keep up with anything that's not authentic. So you're going to go through with how people feel in the room and when they're not in the room. And then you want to brainstorm 3 to 5 words that describe your energy. This is the energy you bring everywhere. So are you magnetic? Are you bold? Are you grounded? Are you playful? Are you a visionary? Are you unapologetic? Are you authentically yourself? Like whatever it is, you want to fill these words in because that's the essence that you're going to put into all of your content. And this is super important because remember, content is not always video. Sometimes it's written. And so you want to put that in there. So when I think about my brand essence, it's even here in this content that I'm sharing with you right now. Now we want to think about your communication style. Are you warm and approachable? Are you a direct and no nonsense? Are you compassionate? What is your overall tone? What is your pace? Are you calm and steady? Are you fast and exciting? Are you gentle and patient? What's that language? Are you very conversational? Are you poetic? Is it educational? Is it funny? And what do you avoid? So do you avoid harsh language? Are you overly formal? Are you fear-based? Like what is that? Or what are you avoiding? Right? So like in the beginning for me, when I came into my personal branding experience, I was so corporate still, and I didn't even realize it. I was like totally trying to ditch my corporate side, but there was so much of me when I would show up and teach a workshop, I was still so corporate about what I was doing and presenting like I was presenting to a boardroom. And so like now I like really reject that because it's not natural to me. I was still deprogramming myself from a role I had been playing for a really long time because it wasn't natural to me. That could be natural to you. So you have to just think about like, what are the things that you want to avoid? Okay, your brand essence. When people experience my brand, they feel X, Y, and Z. I communicate in a blank tone, right? The tone you communicate in, and it makes them feel X. So this is going to direct everything you do. This is what you're going to put into the media coverage that you get, into the podcasts you book yourselves on, into your content, into everything that you create is your brand essence. Okay, now let's get into the content. So your creation sharing worksheet, okay? So we're going to brainstorm some different types of content. And again, I broke down, I know we just went through some examples, but I broke down some more here. So the educational content, you're teaching your audience something new or you're offering a brand new perspective. So for example, what happens in the quantum field when you're afraid of being seen? Maybe people have talked about that before. I hadn't seen it before, and I certainly hadn't seen it done on a whiteboard. So that was my way of bringing something new. How to step by step, how to overcome the fear of being seen in 5 steps. This for you could be how to clear an abundance block in 2 steps, how to increase your health, or how to lose weight, or really whatever you're doing here, whatever type of service you're offering, you could probably break some transformation down into 3 to 5 steps. Again, the interactive lives, polls, Q&As, news and trends, the entertainment, you want to make them laugh, feel delighted, go behind the scenes, give them a peek into your life or a peek into the process, and then inspire them by showing them what's possible. So this is the part of your story to say like, hey, this client had XYZ transformation, or look at the transformation I've had. You want to show people the transformation that you're delivering and showcasing in some way. And then you want to look at your sharing style, right? So the platforms you want to focus on. So Instagram, TikTok, podcast, YouTube, whatever this is for you. And this could be a blog, this could be writing a book, this could be whatever it is. Pick your platforms. And then I would focus on getting started with one, but the one thing I will caveat that with is that once you start making content, just repurpose it on all of the platforms. So you might start off focusing on one, but I waited a really long time to go onto the other platforms. I focused on TikTok only. And then when it came to start, it was like I had this big following on TikTok, yet I was starting from scratch on Instagram. And I was like, why didn't I just always take everything and put it on Instagram? It would have taken me an extra 2 seconds to put it on another platform. So in the beginning, I think it's good right when you're starting to like play on one platform. 2 or 3 is always good too. If you have the time and the capacity, then do it because different platforms are different and you can play. Like sometimes what works on TikTok doesn't work on Instagram and vice versa. So you can play around, but pick your platforms. Focus on your frequency of posting. Are you going to do it 3 times a week, 1 time a day? Are you going to do one live a month? Like, what does this look like for you? What is your format? Video, carousel, blog, podcast, stories? I can tell you from an energetic perspective, because remember, we are doing this from the light workers perspective. It is really important for people to hear your voice and see your face. So the faceless content isn't going to be great for you. Doesn't mean you can't pepper it in there, but don't lead with that. Frequency is communicated through our voice and through our presence. So don't hide, okay? Comfort level with showing your face, high, medium, low, so you can adjust your strategy. So in the beginning, if you're really uncomfortable showing your face, maybe you do voiceovers. Maybe, maybe if you're really uncomfortable, you could show your face just on TikTok. but maybe you don't show your face on Instagram yet. Like you might, take baby steps with what works for you, but just don't wait too long because again, the whole point of this is to let your frequency do the action for you. And then you want to have a call to action. So we talked about what your offer is and your message and the things that you are going to plug people into. So we want to have a call to action on your content. So if it's educational, you could say something like save this post for later. Comment on which step you're starting today. If it's more interactive, vote in the poll. Aspirational, share this if it inspired you. And behind the scenes, DM me if you want to experience this yourself. This is very casual, right? If you have a business and you have an offer and it's already all live, you want to do sales focused content. I've got quite a few examples here. Join me inside the Break Free program. Click the link in my bio to enroll now. Spots are limited. Grab yours while you can. Ready to break free? Apply now. Comment yes if you want me to send you the link. And if you're going to do this, if you're going to have people comment, you're going to reply with things, be prepared for that. Okay. So like on Instagram, you can use the platform. It's called ManyChat, ManyChat, and you can automate. So when people comment or DM you or whatever, you can automate responses. You can't do that on other platforms right now in the US. I think with TikTok, some countries allow ManyChat, the US does not. So if you're going to do that, just be prepared. Like, what if that video goes to 1,000 people? Do you have time to reply to 1,000 people? So just think through that. It might be instead of comment, yes, if you want me to send the link, check the link in my bio. So these are all the different calls to action. I gave you some different ones for engagement, testimonials, value stacking, scarcity and urgency, like this disappears at midnight, last chance to join, only X amount of spots. So these are all the different types of calls to action. But when you're sharing content, you really want to be driving people into something, right? So whether it's a free download, whether it's a program, whether it's just to get them engaging with you and leaving a comment, give them a call to action. I know we think it's really obvious that if we post and we put it out there, they're going to be like, oh, I want to get to know this person. I'm going to look at the link in the bio and see if they have something they offer. 90% of people aren't going to do that. If you don't tell them what to do, they're not going to do it. So you want to be really clear with the call to action. And then last but not least is your content bank. So you want to think of your content type, and this is where you're going to start putting your ideas. And for me, I don't do it in an Excel spreadsheet. I do it right in the notepad on my phone. That's how it's organized for me. Again, all of this is about you taking this information in and creating your own thoughts and processes on it, because how your brain works is how your brain works, and only you know that. But this is where you're going to say, okay, I have how to video. My idea is how to overcome fear of the unknown in 3 steps. The call to action is going to be download my energy clearing. And the tech behind that, well, if they're going to download my energy clearing, that means I need to have something uploaded and a link that they can click on a platform. So for me, that's going to be through Kajabi, or it's going to be through YouTube, right? And I'm just going to send them a link of, hey, here's the energy clearing, go watch it on YouTube, or maybe it's going to be an offering in Kajabi. But you want to think about the delivery before you just go and post things out there, because then it's like, oh, how am I going to manage this? If this video were to go viral, how would I manage this, right? So this is your content bank, and fill this up, because there are going to be days where you're like, oh, I don't know what to say. I have nothing to say today. You're going to be hitting visibility blocks. There's going to be days where you're tired and you're not feeling inspired or whatever. So these are the times where even more, you're going to want this content bank, and then you're going to want to have a very clear call to action. And this is also a really good way to organize things, so that as your business grows and expands and you start to hire people, you can bring people on who can assist you with some of the execution. So this is about your brand essence. This is about how you are starting to communicate. And this is all preparing you as we get ready for the media side, where you're going to get published and booked. Okay. So dive into this. And this is all setting you up so that when you get visible, you can drive people into your offers and you can bring people into your world.